It's a little bit late for this episode. Okay, not necessarily a little bit late, but it's related to New Year's resolutions, and the year
Sure,
has
it's not the first
passed.
day of the year.
It's about the second week of the year. But I would say for the past 3 years, we've always had a sitting together where we talked about our own goals and what we wanted to achieve for the upcoming year. And we try to hold ourselves accountable for that. Last year, we did another podcast and we posted that episode. But for the first time this year, we did not talk about goals, and not even in private time, not even in the podcast, to be honest. And I think because I'm pretty sure, actually, I don't just think that our perspective on goals and how we perceive and define goals for ourselves have changed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Throughout the time.
For me, at least.
For me as well, definitely. So, I don't see goals the same way that I used to. And since we haven't talked about goals, I don't think we're going to talk about it because, we're going to go back to our old type of episodes and we're going to try to redefine what goals are for ourselves and kind of
finally defining something. That's my wheelhouse.
We haven't done that for a while. Yeah. We haven't defined anything for a while. So on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and ask you to define what a goal is for you nowadays.
What a goal for me is, I'm not going to go objectively what a goal is. I'm not going to go what people define goal is. It's just going to be my perspective. Subjectively, my opinion on it. For me, a goal is just like something you set, but you don't focus too much on reaching that point. You're just focusing on the process of getting there. Nowadays, I feel like goals are important so that you have an idea in your mind, what you want to achieve, how you want to be better, what you want to get better at, but not having that point, not fixating so much on that point that you have to reach exactly that amount of money, of skill improvement. You focus more on the process, on the whatever you're trying to
on the routine, if you want.
Exactly, whether you're going to the gym or you're trying to improve any kind of skill, that not focusing too much on that end goal, but rather just focusing on the day-to-day habit. So for me, that's the point of a goal is nowadays. So if I actually reach that goal that I set, great. If I don't, no problem. Then I just set another goal and follow the carrot again. We've talked about this before, about the carrot and the stick many times already. It's not about the carrot. It's not about reaching it. It's just about moving the whole time.
Definitely.
So yeah, I guess for me, in essence, a goal is just a thing to set in order to be able to move. That's it. How is it different for you?
I like that definition. A thing to set in order to be able to move.
Yeah, it's something that keeps you moving, because if you don't have that, then you're aimless. Where are you going?
I like the wording as well. I like the phrasing of it because that kind of summarizes the way that I look at goals nowadays. My definition of goals has become more of a goal is just a means to an end, in very simple terms, which might sound like I'm focusing more on the destination more than the journey.
Yeah.
But that's not entirely the case. So a goal, when I'm saying the goal or a goal is a means to an end, it's because I look at it like this. There's that study or that theory, I don't know what it's called, to be honest, anymore. But when you set a time for something in your brain, that's how long you're going to take to achieve that thing. So if you have to do a task within 2 hours, then you'll do it within 2 hours. If you give yourself a week time, then it's going to take a week time. So it's like, let's take
depending
cleaning,
on the task.
Depending on the task, but that also applies to a lot of things. So if you're going to take cleaning your room as an example, if you give yourself like 30 minutes to clean your room, you're going to do it in 30 minutes.
You will, but I think the point is that you might not reach the 100% of the task.
Now we're going more into
details.
It's
about finishing it.
But like if you're talking about you're doing a general cleaning in your room and you're giving yourself 30 minutes to do it, then you're going to be able to do it in 30 minutes. But if you give yourself to do a general cleaning in your room an hour, then it's going to take you an hour. Yeah. Because in between, you're going to,
waste time.
I still have, I still have like 40 minutes.
More time.
I can take it slowly. I can get distracted by this. I can get distracted by that. You know what I mean?
That's why deadlines are helpful.
Exactly. Which is why I like to set goals with deadlines. You know, so like for example, let's say I want to be able to finish this book within a month. Let's just take this random example.
Mhm.
Then I will know that okay, I have a month to finish this book, and that's my goal for this month. And then I'm gonna focus on reading the book and prioritize it over other things. So that's how I like to look at goals. Like that's why they're means to an end.
Mhm.
They kind of give you that limited time or that deadline to achieve something specific.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to keep in mind now comes the small minor details, which is it a goal that is under your control? So if you're talking about reading a book, if you're talking about losing weight, if you're talking about finding a job, for example, or this and that, then it's something that you can control. But if you start getting into the uncontrollable, then that's where I started to kind of put my distance between that and that goal.
Mhm.
So you know how I used to see like, okay, by the end of this year, I'm going to be financially free. And that's
Yeah.
not something that's entirely under my control because there's a lot of factors that I cannot influence.
Mhm.
So these kind of goals, I stopped setting them and I started using more specific goals with a deadline that will kind of put my brain and my body and my subconscious to know like, okay, hey, we have only a month left, for example, to reach an X amount of body weight or an X amount of body fat. So we've got to work on that.
Mhm.
Or I've got only 2 days left to finish the last 100 pages of this book, which means
Yeah.
I've got to start reading a little bit more.
I don't know. I've always struggled to set these kind of concrete goals. You know, like
I used to. I
never liked doing that.
I'm not gonna lie. I used to struggle so much with it
Mhm.
until my first very specific goal that I set for myself, which you know about that 2 months, the last huge weight loss that I went through, and I gave myself like 2 months, maybe 3 months, 2.5 months, something like this, to lose about 10, 15 kilograms, which I thought was impossible, and everybody said it's impossible
Yeah.
until that actually happened, and I was like, oh shit, I've been going to the gym and trying to lose weight for like 7 months and I didn't lose that much weight until I set that specific goal. And then I actually started focusing on the daily habits to achieve that goal within 2 months. I wasn't giving myself a year to lose that much weight, but I only gave myself 2 months. And then since then, that shift in my mentality happened that if that worked then it means that I can do the same for other stuff and I can start setting all like shorter periods or like realistic period of times to actually achieve what I want to achieve. So that changed my perspective on goals a lot. It went from, a vague goal to really specific goals with really specific metrics of like time, weight, or numbers or book or whatever you want to call it, this and that. And then you add to it the fact that I've had to come to terms with the fact that goals are not death and life.
Mhm.
I used to be really strict with my goals. So if I hadn't
Like the end of
achieved
the world.
exactly, if in the past if I hadn't achieved my goal, I would be beating myself around it. Sorry, beating
Beating
myself
yourself up.
up for it,
Yeah.
and I would start getting into a little bit of, I don't know if you want to call it depression, but a down phase where like I'm doubtful of myself, I'm fearful of this and that, and then like I said, I had to come to terms with the fact that sometimes you might not achieve that goal within the time period that you gave yourself.
That's the point.
But nevertheless, that doesn't mean that this goal is not achievable. Maybe you just went
No.
somewhere wrong along the lines,
It's
or
not that,
maybe the
but
time was not realistic.
It's not only that,
and then
your
you can extend the time a
your
little bit.
priorities might shift in between. Like something
Definitely,
else
definitely.
comes along the way, and then
Definitely.
you're still focusing on that goal that you don't have the time for anymore, and you're still stressing yourself out and feeling bad about it and getting disappointed and frustrated. And I think that's where the issue stems, I guess.
It's kind of people connect the goal that they set for themselves to the character, to the personality, to who they believe they are. So if they say like, okay, my goal for this year is to start, I'm just going to take the most common one, which is hitting the gym, and they start kind of building their character for this year around being a gym person, and then they end up doing that for a month or two, and then they stop going to the gym, and then that character that they've been building for the past 1 or 2 months kind of collapses, and then they start getting into this existential crisis, or maybe who am I? Well, like what the fuck am I doing with my life? Kind of crisis,
I feel like perfectionism is also hugely tied to it. I mean, at least for me, I have this example that I used to set that I want to do like on my video on my video channel that I want to do 2 videos every month.
Mhm.
And that puts me under so much stress because I get in this perfectionist mode that I need to finish them on time and I need to finish them perfectly 100%.
Mhm.
And that makes me neglect so many other areas of my life because I am so hyper focused on this damn goal that I set every month. It has to be 2 videos, otherwise I'm not going to be successful. I'm going to be a loser. I'm slacking. I'm lazy. And at the beginning it was working, you know. I'm still neglecting other areas of my life, but I'm working on this goal. It was working well, but then at some point things happen. You don't have the same amount of time, and then I do only 1 video a month instead of 2, and I start to beat myself up. Oh, something was wrong, and I get disappointed about myself and everything. Until at some point I just stop caring anymore, and I just keep going in that rhythm.
I think,
you know,
I think
and that's where I
something-
realized that these kind of concrete goals of like really setting a certain time, this just doesn't work for me.
Okay.
It doesn't work for me. If you tell me you have to upload something on this day at this time consistently for years, it's not something I like to do, I guess, because I don't know, maybe it is something related to personality, related to perfectionism
Maybe.
that really
But
clash with each other.
I guess that's the difference, for example, between us. Because I kind of like this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Even though I'm also perfectionist, and you know that.
Yeah.
But I still kind of like this kind of stuff because it puts me under pressure. Probably because my discipline in that regard is a little bit lower. So like if I don't give myself a specific time, you know, I would be slacking and always making sure that it drags on longer and longer.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, when I realized that, okay, if I give myself a specific date, then I know that I'm going to start putting my focus there. But related to what you were talking about,
that gives me a lot of anxiety when you put like a certain date. That's like
it does the same to me. But I'm not gonna lie, in a really weird and maybe even a little bit unhealthy way, I like that. I know it might not make exactly. I know it might not make a lot of sense to a lot of people.
It kind of does.
But as I'm growing older, I used to hate that kind of anxiety and that kind of pressure. But nowadays, I like it. I don't know why. It feels, I guess because it puts me on the spot.
Yeah.
You know, it puts me on the spot even more between me and myself. So like, hey, you said you're gonna do that within this time, and then you only got a week left, so you gotta lock it. And I kind of like this, you know. It kind of pushes me, and I like that the feeling of that. But I want to just take a step back here because you said when you were focusing too much on your example, when you were uploading 2 episodes a month, you said you were neglecting other things.
Yeah, because I had to hyper focus on this task. So
Exactly.
I need to finish it on this time. As you said, it's like it puts you on the spot. That is true. And I understand why you might like that. But for me, it's like I'm always thinking about that. And I can't focus on my friendships. I can't focus on my other work. It's because I have to finish it in this time. And that messes up so much with like for the task itself. It's great.
It's good. It's good.
Great. I
told
you before, when I have like vacation and I have to finish a video before it, I'm like working on it the whole time.
Yeah.
And it works. But every other area of my life, I'm just not enjoying.
But so in that regard, there's that theory. I don't know what you want to call it. But the example that I've heard about it was, imagine you've got 150% of your energy, you know, and there's 2 types of people. More like there's 3 types of people. The first type is that they don't have any priorities.
Yeah.
So the 150 is spread all over the place.
Yeah.
So there is no, you know, I'm focusing more on this, I'm focusing more on this. It's just all over the place, and there's nothing that's more dominating than the other area. Then you've got the second type of people, which is quite the opposite. They've got only one area, that's where the 150% going in. So if it's the job, which means then they're putting like 120 in the job, for example, 10% for family and friends, 10% for themselves, and 10% for hobbies or whatever.
I feel like both are not so healthy.
Exactly. I was building up for that. If the job or if the 120% collapses, for, you know, we're living in an uncertain world. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen tonight, for that matter. And if the 120 collapses or fails, then they kind of they're in a huge mess. Let's put it like this. You know, they're screwed. And then you've got the third type of people, which I guess we both are, which is you've got your 3 most important aspects of your life, and then you've got the subgenres of them, if that's what you want to call them.
Subtypes.
And then you decide like, okay, I'm putting 50% in this, I'm putting 40% here, I'm putting 30% here, you know, prioritizing it. and then you've got the subgenres that are getting like 5 to 10% each, which means then you've got multiple areas, and if any of them collapses or whatever happens, you still have the rest of them,
Exactly.
you know. And we both are that kind of type. But again, I'm starting to realize that you can switch on and
Sure.
off between them.
Sure.
And so when I'm talking about setting a specific goal with a specific date, I like to remain in the third category where, like, you know, my time is split. And when I realize that, okay, fuck, we've only got a week, maybe, depending on what kind of goal, there's many factors here. So if you're talking about like body fat percentage, for example, you cannot be like, oh, I only have a week left and suddenly I have to lose like 2% body fat. That's impossible.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it's going to take me a month. But in the regard of books and reading, or maybe watching or learning something, I can be like, okay, I've only got a week left to finish this book.
Yeah.
And then that's when I would switch off from the third category to the second category. We're like, okay, we're doing 120% for a week in this aspect, and we're going to get it done. And then after this goal is done, I can slowly go back to the third category where my energy is split. The transition, though, is quite exhausting.
It is.
Because when I switch from the third to the second, that works, you know, because...
Piece of cake.
Exactly. It's like I'm in it instantly. But when I want to go back from the second to the third, that kind of messes my complete routine up for a week, approximately.
That's normal.
And then I slowly start going back to the third category and slowly start, you know, able to spread my energies until the next goal comes in. And then you repeat it. And so for this year, I've decided that I'm going to try to go into this year without any specific goals, but rather just to optimize for outcome in the life that I've got right now.
Okay, so like optimizing the areas that you're already working
on.
Exactly. For me, I guess it's kind of similar to you, but I've decided that I don't want to set concrete goals in general, but rather just see my vision of the year, I guess. Like,
it's kind of
like just an abstract idea of what I want to improve this year, but there's no concrete goals. There's no set of dates or time or any kind of bullshit that I don't like, you know? And I want to see how this works. Like, will it push me or will it not do anything? If it doesn't do anything, maybe I need to find something else.
Exactly.
You know? But I'm still kind of slacking with it, that I want to write down what my vision for the year is or whatever, because I think writing things down could be helpful.
It's always good,
but, you know, it's now the third day of the year and I'm still slacking about it.
I can relate. Yeah. But surprisingly, I also went in this year with the same mindset.
Yeah.
Like, the only specific goals that I've got are technically just my gym, just my health, because that's something that I want to keep going with the specific goals, you know. But other than that, I was like, okay, you know what?
Maybe with the gym, maybe the gym is an exception where you can make specific goals because it's very practical.
It's not only this, but I guess like for me at least, if I go into the gym without a goal, you know, whether I'm trying to bulk up or cut down, then my workout is not going to be focused on that regard. Yeah. And then my food, like what I'm eating on a daily basis, is going to be also a complete mess. And then I'm not really benefiting that much from either of them, you know. But like I said, outside of the gym, I went into this year without any specific goals. You know, I was like, you know what, we're gonna go into this year. We're just gonna keep on doing what we've been doing so far. We're gonna see which areas that we can improve on, which areas that we can, or stuff that we can cut out of our life, and maybe somewhere along the lines, I will find a specific goal that I will set for myself. But for now, I'm just going to this year doing what I've been doing so far, because I'm at the point. I guess that also relates to which point you are in your life, you know, because like I'm at the point in my life where like things are going well.
Yeah,
they can be improved, but things are going good in all the aspects that I've been wishing for them to be this good. And it's like, okay, right now the only thing that I can do is to optimize and improve on them.
Exactly.
But I don't have. Maybe if you want to bring that into perspective as well, like one of the things that we realize, which is something that we talked about in the past, is that the things that you learn in your 20s are the things that you have to unlearn in the middle of your 20s or 30s, which is for the past 2 years, for example, I've been more focus on my work and on myself. And right now it's kind of not necessarily a goal, but a wish that I would like to, or an area in my life that I would like to focus more energy on,
Yeah.
which is, it's not all about work, but you can also go out every now and then and just have fun, have a relaxing, fun day, you know?
I feel like that's maybe the problem with concrete goals and optimization and stuff.
They
Like
kinda
you
like-
take out so much fun out of your life.
They
Like,
kind of like are narrowed pave that just, this is the path.
exactly.
you
This
know.
was like I feel like this was really
Mhm.
important, and this is what I also want to talk about. This was really important at the beginning of my
Mhm.
self-improvement journey when I really needed a lot of work
Mhm.
in order to get out of the hole that I was in.
Yeah.
So I had to cut most of the fun out of my
Mhm.
life in order to focus on productivity. But I feel like now I'm at a point in my life where like I improved many things and I know exactly the things that I
Mhm.
like and dislike.
Exactly.
So I don't need
Exactly.
to say, okay, this year I want to read 10 books because I don't need that shit in
You're
order
gonna
to
read the books anyway.
Exactly. Maybe
It's-
there will
exactly.
be a book that is a little bit harder and challenging that I will read in 2
Exactly.
months and finish it in 2 months. There will be the book after
Mhm.
that I will read in 1 week, and that's
Exactly.
always okay.
That's-
Maybe I'll read
that's-
6 books this year, maybe 20. I don't need to set this shit. I don't need this like specific. No, these are good in the beginning, at least for me.
Same.
They were really
they
important.
got me started, but right now it's like, I was like, okay, I want to set a goal for books, and I was like why?
Exactly.
I'm gonna read the books anyways,
Yeah.
and it's not like I'm gonna slack on reading them. And if I do, it's gonna be
Because
just
you
for
know
a few
now
days.
that you like it and you know the benefits.
Exactly.
You don't need reminders for that. It's
then-
already imprinted in your brain. And even for podcasts, you know how I used to watch like 3 podcasts every day. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like that's a little bit too much information in your brain. And now I just like, okay, this new book, I want to watch this. Let's watch it. And then maybe a week passed, I
Mhm.
watched nothing. Then I go back to watch something.
Mhm.
It's just there's no law or rules for that. It's just something that's good for you. You enjoy it a little bit and try to do it more and more. But
Yeah.
I don't like these kind of really concrete goals anymore in my life.
Nevertheless, I don't know why. I still like the idea of having concrete. Even though a part of me right now is like, we don't really need goals anymore. Like not specific goals, because we are already doing what we want to do and we already are focused on what we're doing, But a part of me still thinks that maybe it's good to have goals. But I guess, like I said, like for now at least, I'm going into this year without anything specific, and I want to see how that works.
Yeah.
Maybe
Same.
maybe I will find out that it's better. And
You have to try.
I would say that if we actually change our perspective sometime mid-year, we will do then a second episode about this.
Mhm.
Because then it's going to be completely new perspectives and a completely new way of looking at things and maybe defining things as well.
We'll see. Like I feel like, in general, every year and every once in a
Mhm.
while, I change my perspective on things. I might say
Definitely,
something,
same,
and after a
same,
few months, I'm like,
same.
oh shit, like
Same.
that wasn't completely how I feel right now. That's
Mhm.
not the same. I think concrete
Mhm.
goals could still be good even if you're further in your journey when it's related to something completely new in your life, something you have
Oh, definitely.
no idea about. You want to
Definitely,
learn new
definitely.
skill from scratch. You need to set some goal. Okay, I want to get a little
That
bit
kind
better.
that gets
you know?
going,
Exactly, because you don't know, you don't have a clue about
Mhm.
this. But when it comes to optimizing something or improving things you already know,
I think it's
I don't
more
think
like
you need necessarily.
when the thing becomes a habit
Then
and
don't
you
need a
start
goal.
enjoying the process.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's when you kind of start letting go of that perspective or that principle of goals.
Mhm.
Because like I said, like whether I set a goal to a lot of things or not, I know that I'm still doing
Exactly.
the thing.
Yeah.
I know that I'm still gonna read. I know that I'm still gonna
And
be
even if you
doing the
stop, even
podcast.
if you stop doing something, you're doing it with a conscious effort that okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Not because you're slacking. We talked about this
Yeah.
sometime before. Like for me, it used to be like trying to play the guitar. Now I'm like, I don't feel like practicing, but it's not because I am lazy about it. It's just like I don't have time for it in my life, and it's not a priority anymore.
Yeah.
So I stopped playing the guitar in order to put that time into something else that I enjoy more. Or I want to focus more on. And that's always shame. Maybe in a month I will go back to doing that.
It's just like your priorities kind of
the
shift,
priorities
maybe,
shift exactly.
and you start making. It's like if you're gonna go back, we can apply the 3 categories back to this. Where you kind of are more going to the third category, and you're realizing like, okay, playing the guitar is not on my 3 most or highest priorities, but it's somewhere on the lower ends of it.
Yeah.
So it's only getting like 5% or maybe less of my attention, and my main attention is going to go somewhere else. And then you kind of, that also gets you to stop beating yourself up for it when you don't do it.
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, that's the
And when
point.
you do it, you start enjoying it because you realize like, okay, I'm not learning the guitar because I've got to,
That's a big
but
difference.
I'm learning the
because I want
guitar
to.
because I want to.
That's
I
a big
enjoy
difference.
it. I
That's a
enjoy
big
playing the
difference.
guitar. I enjoy the music. I enjoy the this and that. So it becomes more of a hobby.
Yeah.
A hobby.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not a
Not
habit.
everything has to be optimized.
It's
and
not a
become-
habit. It's just a hobby that you
For
do
me, in
for
the
fun.
past, anything I do has to. Oh,
Same,
I want
same,
taking cold
same,
showers. I want to optimize it. What is
same.
the maximum? This bullshit. Just I hate.
I
it.
still
hate that.
struggle with this.
I
I
hate
still
that.
have this in my life till
I
till
kind of
today.
stopped doing that. Like,
But it's more under control.
I kind of stopped optimizing. Like, I feel like if something comes naturally, like, okay, I'm getting better at something naturally, I don't have to like force it or like, oh, I have to do this, then it's fine. But if the whole time I'm just like struggling to enjoy something because I'm pushing myself so hard to optimize whatever I'm trying to do, I don't want to do that. Like, it makes me hate whatever the thing that I'm doing. I don't want to have that feeling. You know, like we've talked about before, trying to find a way to enjoy the things that you don't necessarily like. Maybe for me, the gym is something feels like it's important. I don't enjoy it necessarily, but I do things so that I can have more enjoyment out of it. You know.
Yeah.
And you can apply that to anything. Like you don't need to struggle too much doing these things. You just need to find a way that would fit to your own personality and way of doing things, so that you can find a little bit more enjoyment in them. So, like, if something you don't have to go through, then why go through it? You know.
Now, in another way, you're just optimizing for things to fit you more. But I guess that's just a healthier kind of optimization. You know what I mean?
Kinda.
You're optimizing things to fit your personality.
You're optimizing optimization.
Exactly. and that kind of is I guess it's like a good, healthy kind of optimization because you're trying to make the optimization and the process more fitting of
more enjoyable for me.
Who you are,
more enjoyable.
so we can enjoy the journey more.
For me, it's like I like to have fun. You know, like I try to find that in anything that I'm trying to do. You know, it's the same when I'm like when we're working, or I say I want to have music when I'm working. You know, like it just makes it more alive, more enjoyable, less. I don't know the word.
Less
here,
dull,
exactly.
less plain.
Yeah, like exactly. It's more playful. It's like So you can apply that to anything. But everyone is different at the end of the day. Like
definitely.
What's his name? The guy from The Marine, he's very famous. He has a.
Are we talking about David Goggins?
Exactly.
Here?
Like I think even his methods, it's like hard mindset. It works for some people. Some people, that's how they function. That's what.
At the end of
but
the
it's
day,
not for me. It's not for many other people as well.
At the end of the day, I guess I'm just gonna go a little bit out of topic here and just talk about this for a little bit. I think it's important to realize that at the end of the day, no one knows better. I don't know. Because there is, technically, no one knows better. No one knows more than you do. It's just that people know what worked for them and how they changed their lives. And that's how they can communicate it with you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take multiple examples here. Some people tell you, life is too short. So if you want to start, you got to start now. And then on the other hand, people tell you, it's never too late to start. But if life is too short, then it's always late to start.
Contradiction.
You know what I mean? And then you've got, for example, if you love them, you would let them go. You set free what you love. And then the other perspective is like, if you love something, you would fight for it. And then you've got the people that go like, the harsh kind of love, which is like David Goggins, who's going to carry the boats, who's going to do this and this. And I respect all of that. And then you've got the other side of people who try to optimize for things to be more fun so they can enjoy the process more. Where I'm going with this is, advice is just an advice, and no one knows any better.
I feel like, but there is some truth in any, like...
There is. It's just like people always swinging between two extremes.
Yeah.
If you're going to go back to the Glock example, it's like people on this end and people on this end are both saying what worked for them. And the people that are listening are kind of in the middle, and they're getting dragged either to the left or to the right.
True.
But at the end of the day, where I'm going with this is that you should find out what works for you. You should optimize for optimization in your own mini bubble of life. And then from there on, you can find out whether goals are for you, whether you like to set goals in a fun way so you can enjoy the process, whether you are the type that goes like, nope, shut the fuck up. We're doing what we're doing, period. There's no room for any discussions. And I think when you start realizing how no one can tell you how to live life, but they can just give you an advice, that's when your mindset kind of shifts from just listening to people, to learning more and trying to find what works for you. And I think that's kind of the phase that I'm in right now, because I'm trying to optimize for optimization again,
Yeah.
and trying to just be in the process that I'm making for myself right now.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it's just something to figure out. We talked about this a lot in the past as well, that when you're listening to these advices or reading these books,
Mhm.
you're not supposed to take them too literally, and that, oh, since it worked for this person, it's going to work for me. So
Mhm.
even with goals, you got to approach it in your own way, see what works. Try to set specific goals this year. If it doesn't work out,
Exactly.
try something else. Try to set mini goals, like something smaller, or try to have just a vision for the year. Or Mark Manson has something that he tries to do as well, like setting a mindset for the year, I guess. Like, okay,
Oh, I like this.
what is this year about? What is the mindset for this year? It's
I've
a bit
never
different
tried
approach.
this.
It's something else.
I've never tried this, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've tried multiple different approaches for,
Yeah.
like, New Year or New Year's resolution or
Yeah.
New Year, New Me.
It's very
But I've never
abstract.
tried
It's very abstract.
the
But you
mindset one.
set the mood for this year. What is it about? What's
Okay,
gonna be about this time?
I like that.
And
I like
that in itself, like, oh, the mindset of the year or the
Mhm.
vision of the year is gonna have some goals within it, but they're just not
Definitely,
concrete.
definitely. Yeah.
Okay, my mindset of the year is I want to be more peaceful person. Automatically, you'll start to meditate more. Automatically, you'll start to reach out for people who are more peaceful, more calm. These are all kind of goals, but they're just not so concrete, not so direct. They're just
like
under the umbrella of this mindset.
Now that you're bringing this up, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna do it. We're doing this year. We're gonna try to set a mindset in the next few days. So I will have like a mindset for this year, and I'm gonna try to, like I said, like I'm not gonna set goals, but I'm gonna set a mindset for this year. I like this.
You'll see what that would bring.
Mark Manson, if you ever listen to this, now you know they just influenced somebody indirectly without me even listening to that episode of the podcast.
Mindset of the year, everything is fucked.
Everything is fucked, anyways.
All right, I think that covers it for this one. Maybe we'll do another episode on goal this year.
Like sometime in the middle of the year, I would say. See exactly
how things are going. I still need to figure out what I want to do. Like I told you, I want to do this vision thing, but I still don't know. Maybe I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wing it. I don't know.
See, I'm just going to bring this quickly into perspective. Even as we are the ones that are sitting here and giving advice, if you're going to call this an advice, we both don't even know what we're doing. Yeah. Like, look at it like this.
I even forgot it's a new year.
Exactly. We both are going to the new year, and we both are like, you know what? We're going to try this and this. Why? Because we want to see what works for us. Because so far, I guess we both kind of stick to what other people say.
Yeah.
And right now we kind of are just trying things on our own to see.
It's been a while for
what
me now.
Works.
Like I started doing this like 4 or 5 months ago. That hey, there's a lot of things that are of value that I learned from other people. But I also want to try other things and see how it works.
I've been doing this for.
Will it work? Will it not? I don't know. Like you need time to figure it out. I'm trying to find more balance and trying to find more.
Find way where you fit in.
I don't want to say life. Burned out. I just want to be, because the last few years I was always burned out from something. Either from working too much or not working at all. I was always burned out. So I'm trying to find the balance. That some days I would work more, other days I would have more fun. Will I be burned out from that as well? I don't know. We're always trying to figure new things out. So it's the same with goals. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So
that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.